Good evening. This is Brielle. For tonight, I decided to do something a little bit interesting because we've entered a brand new month, the month of March. And often that makes me think of a quote from the Shakespearean play by William Shakespeare, Julius Caesar. It says, "Beware the Ides of March." Being my chosen interest as well as profession, the fact that there's a soothsayer who warns a new leader that there's trouble looming on the horizon makes you wonder. Many people, when they come to an oracle or someone like me, sometimes they're afraid to ask such things. But we all have that person in our workplace, even a family member, or just a friend who's a false friend, but we're still not able to let them go, and we keep them in our life. And often we're wondering, are these people going to stab me in the back? Well, as he said, et tu, Brute, for Caesar was ultimately betrayed, of course. His ghost, his will, and his legacy ultimately did have the last laugh on his oppressors, and their downfall did commence. Of course, not everyone like me is interested in Shakespearean tragedies and things like that. However, something that people may be interested in is recently in the United States of America, we've had a change of administration. Our new current president is Joe Biden, who was the former vice president. And I'm only stating that because other people in other countries may be listening and perhaps they're not aware of politics in the United States of America. I'm sure some are because it's been quite popular on the news. The premise of my reading is not politically motivated, so I barely watch the news and I know very, very little about the current president. And it's not to pretty much my ideologies aren't going to really follow into the results of this reading, but I'm going to just let the cards tell us what they will and what the universe wants to tell us. And I chose this particular reading because, like Julius Caesar, he is victorious and he just won victory, but even now, if one does follow politics, we know that he has many adamant and vocal opponents. Hence the Ides of March spread, which I shaped like a dagger from the Shakespearean play that many fans of literature know a bit about. And let us do a reading for Joe Biden and his administration and see what the Ides of March hold for him. March is known for coming in like a lion and out like a lamb. It's a very blustery and windy month. So one moment there could be calm, and the next moment there could be upheaval. And tonight I'm using my favorite card deck. The first one I learned to use many years ago. And it's large print so everyone can see the beautiful pictures of Lady Frida Harris. This is the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck, which uses a lot of imagery and symbolism based on the Kabbalah and Hermeticism, as well as the Ordo Templi Orientis and the Golden Dawn, which was the magical school or mystery school that Crowley was associated with, but not limited to, because he was indeed a larger-than-life character. And whether some people love Aleister Crowley or hate him, and I'm sure many people don't know much about him, no one could doubt that his influence in the occult and magical community did indeed leave an impact. And he designed these very nice cards with Lady Frida Harris as the artist. And now we're going to commence our reading, and I'll get to show you these beautiful cards and hopefully show you my tarot reading abilities as we do a reading for our new president, Joe Biden. This is a 7-card spread, so I will lay them out as shown, and then I will share with you the way that the readings shall look. Oh, I forget though that because I'm showing it to the camera, I actually have to place them upside down to me so you can see them. Actually, I placed them the wrong way. Like I've said before, these are very big cards. You cannot shuffle them like a poker hand, which is probably why I learned to shuffle different than a lot of other readers I've seen do. Mostly using my left hand, the hand that draws in energy. I feel this for energy from the cards, and basically the cards tell me which ones I should choose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, my good friends, I'm going to show you how the spread looks. In essence, the card spread is supposed to symbolize the dagger of betrayal, but of course if you followed the Shakespearean story, you would know that not even though Caesar did die, that his legacy was what lived on. And that's a very good message about change. So, let's reveal what our cards shall show. And I'm going to hold them up and show them to you as well. Wow, very interesting reading so far. All the major players that tend to haunt me in most of my readings, they like to show up and say hello, like old friends, and I run into them quite a bit. Now, the first question I asked of this is, the first card of the dagger is called Caesar's Victory, about Joe Biden. What benefits will your victory bring? And this is almost humorous. What benefits will your victory bring? Let me adjust the light. I need a little light here. And we're looking right at the card for strife. Now you may say, how could strife bring benefits to Joe Biden's victory. Now, one thing you'll notice that here on the images is the 5 of Wands. In some decks you could call them staffs or fire. And for one thing, you'll notice that the staffs are behind one main staff. So, from the interpretation so far, and I'm going to put all the cards together as they come because one card does not stand alone when you're doing a spread. I believe his victory will bring strife to those who have caused so much strife to others. A lot of people who repressed other people, and I will say, because I am Jewish, I do not like anti-Semitic people or Nazis or hate groups or people like the Ku Klux Klan or the Proud Boys or the QAnon. So I believe the dangerous people, the scary people, his victory is going to bring strife to them. Now, the second card we are going to pull, and once I pull them all, I'm going to show you the beautiful look of the cards all together. It says, it's called Beware. What does the soothsayer warn? In the story of Julius Caesar, a soothsayer screams out in the street to Caesar as his parade progression goes by, "Caesar, beware the Ides of March." And what does the soothsayer warn of? And the light is much too bright. He warns of the bright light, perhaps. No. Well, I'm going to try to show you. Luxury. This is the 4 of Cups. Now, I will say that sometimes I just try to get a feel from the cards. It kind of goes together with the strife card because if you put them on top of each other, the designs folding down would go with the middle of this, the main wand is strife, forming together the codices of Hermes. And from what I am seeing is I believe that there may be a temptation for our president to be seduced perhaps by people in power, the money men, because I believe that Joe Biden, personally I believe he's a good man, but others could disagree or not like that. But I'm not going to talk about my political affiliations. However, I believe that perhaps lobbyists or the money men may seduce Joe Biden and say, "We'll help you with this, this good thing you want to do, but we might want you to do something for us in the future." So I think it's a warning not to be seduced by the pretty shiny baubles they may shine at him. Now this is getting a little bit darker. Going further on, this light is too bright. Oh, now it's too dark. We're going to have to do something about that. Okay, this might be a good compromise. Now, the third card I have here is called Et tu brute. Who seeks to stab you in the back? I'm sure there's many people, politicians, no matter what side they are on, no matter what party, will always have opponents, people doing dirty things behind their back, trying to catch them in some weakness. And this is the Six of Wands, more fire, and very interesting thing about the Six of Wands is two, three, four, five, six. You notice that there are more flames than there are wands. There are more fires going, so I'm going to take that as who is going to betray him. This is actually tricky. I have to just meditate on it for a moment. Oh, and occasionally, of course, witches and shamans, it's common for us to have cats, so you might hear my cat Rosie meowing in the background. Ooh. Believe it or not, from my intuition, I believe that there's going to be an angry force aligned with women or females. I believe that there's going to be a group of women who come forth who are very passionate about a certain thing, and they are going to probably make things difficult for our current president. Now, we get into another area, loyalty. Who are your followers? Sometimes it's hard to know what people are loyal to you. And if I was to do a reading like this with someone, it could be someone's friends or their family or business associates. And there we have Dominion, which is, whenever I saw this one, it actually always reminded me from the Jahanti dagger in the Eddie Murphy movie, The Golden Child. Now, we have horses, we have snakes, lots of interesting imagery. Of course, I see a lot of Aries imagery. So, I will say that I am seeing an ally, possibly in the future. Someone who is formerly not very pleasant to the last administration, in turn, is going to possibly make peace with us. Another fire card. So, we're going to have perhaps an ally who may have once been our ally, but our past administration fell out of favor with. And I believe that our current president, Joe Biden, is going to rebuild the bridge and have a few new allies. And it's going to be interesting to find out who it is. Now here, some more fun. It's going to be insurrection, a word I've heard on the news. I don't watch much of it, but I heard that word, and it seems to have a deep, menacing resonance, so I thought it was interesting. So, insurrection. Who will oppose you? And right away comes up with the Seven of Disc. And I am seeing the big, big money men. Yes. And I'm looking here in my own. See, I don't always go by the traditional symbology. I take out of my own personal symbology from all the things I've read and acquired in all my knowledge. And it goes to the crystal of myself as your oracle. And I am seeing over here the winds like a hurricane. So I'm going to say that these are the overhand of the money men, the ones who have their hand in every pot, the big business corporations, the what you would call a monopoly, the ones who have the organizations, the big ones who own many smaller companies, and you wouldn't even know that they actually ran them, like how GE used to run, even have shoe stores and cat food companies and everything, and things like that. So the big businessmen might try to oppose him. So on one hand, with luxury, they're going to try to seduce him, but perhaps he will say no deal, and they may oppose him. Now, card number 6, we're getting close to the tip of the dagger. Caesar's will. You see, in the story of the Shakespearean story, Julius Caesar, Caesar left a will to his people, and after he was killed, he pretty much left Rome to the people, which I don't know if it's historically accurate or not, but that's a very nice thing to do in my opinion. And Caesar's will, what will be your lasting legacy for those under your care? Oh wow, Mercury energy, the 5 of disc. Wow, this one comes up for me very, very frequently in many of my readings. And whenever I see this particular image, I always think of a machine, but the machine is about to seize up. The gears are grinding against each other. So I'm not sure who his legacy is going to cause the worry. And you don't always have to go by the words. You could completely ignore them. I use them just as a guide and a memory reminder because I'm getting up in age and it's not what it used to be. But the Mercury energy, you know, it's become a meme now, Mercury in retrograde. I'm not super big into astrology, even though I know they play a part in it. But here's the thing, we'll get to the bottom of this. His legacy is that people are going to worry, I believe, that once he is finished, whatever he does for good or for bad, you know, will who comes after him be the wrench in the gears? Will someone come along and well, this happens with a lot of administrations, and it doesn't take a psychic to know it, but it looks like there's a great potential that what he achieves in his administration, and we don't know how long it's going to be or what's going to happen with it. Well, I don't yet, but it seems like the same thing that's happened before with other administrations is the next one might just come by and poof, undo everything and start doing, edicts and orders right away. And, there's a worry that when you take a few steps forward, you might take a few steps back. We'll see, I guess. The future time will tell. And sometimes with my readings, I don't know the full implications of them for even years later. And then I look back and I'm like, yeah, that's what they meant. But the way that I work is I'm an oracle, so I could speak to 100 people, but maybe the reading is for one particular person to interpret, and that's going to reach out to them and be meaningful to them, and they're going to find some kind of significance, and it's going to give them an idea that's going to help them progress through their existence, and they may take some lessons and hold on to them even to a different existence. I guess they'll find that out. Here is the tip of the dagger right here. Caesar's successor. What lesson can you teach those who rule after you're gone? So, the next people that come along, it could even mean his family or his children or another protege or a political person or even the next person who becomes president. What can Joe Biden teach, those who rule after he's gone? And it's coming up with the Seven of Wands, Mars energy, valor. That's very interesting. And I always take valor, the Seven of Wands, to count as the Five of Wands plus 2, which means from strife you gain a few extra points. The strife in 5 brings you to 7. Pretty much you have to go through the trouble sometimes to get to the beneficial times, and I think it's going to teach him, or whoever it is he's going to teach someone that, things might be difficult, but we're going to grind through it. We're going to keep plowing through until we get to our goal, until we get to where we need to be. So hopefully, whoever is in charge and whoever does things, particularly in this country, because for a long time there's been quite a bit of trouble. Maybe it's always been that way. I feel like we're having a little fireside chat right here. Well, the thing is, hopefully, whatever happens, even if an administration fails or soars, hopefully in the grand scheme of things, even in the cosmic scheme of things, in which I believe that we're just a blink in the eye. Whatever happens, this fate is going to benefit everyone, everything, and hopefully when we take a bow and the show is over and everyone's up on the stage, Caesar, Brutus, Octavius, Mark Antony, all the players, the soothsayer, we take a bow and we shake hands. Perhaps after the show we have a glass of wine and prepare for a new show on a new stage. And we take the lessons we've learned and off to another adventure. And now I will be off. So, blessings to you. Oh, I forgot to show you this nice spread. This dagger-shaped spread. I don't know if you can see it well. Which are all the cards like this. And I'll also show you this. Yeah, I do interrupt my own self, don't I? This was the spread that I made. I'm very fond of designing my own tarot spreads. But anyway, back to where I was going since I interrupted myself while talking to you. Many blessings to you, and have a good evening. Thank you for sharing yourself into my living room and myself into yours. Be well.